Hello everyone, happy Thursday. We're gonna slow it down today, take it to the ground. This is going to be a really nice stretch and I like to think good relief for any kind of sciatic pain, sciatic kind of acting up in general. Mine will act up every once in a while, and for those that don't know on what basically sciatica or your sciatic nerve kind of flaring up is, basically it is kind of here in the hip region, and that bundle of nerves gets pinched, and what will happen is it's kind of like a tingling, decent pain that will kind of end up going down like the leg, even up to the shoulder if you have it more like I do. So mine will go like from one side to, or one shoulder all the way down to like the foot, for example, if it's really aggressive. So anyway, here are some good stretches just to give a little bit of relief in that low back and into that hip, and then of course down even in the legs. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a lot of solid stretching within the hip region. We're gonna stay on the floor pretty much the whole way through. If you have a yoga block, I would highly encourage you to grab that. It will be helpful for a couple different places within our stretch today. Also, if you don't have one and you have like a foam roller, you could kind of utilize that. Maybe even like a pillow of some sort, like a big fluffy pillow or thick pillow, maybe not fluffy, but all those things that will just help a little bit in relieving some pressure maybe in a couple different places. So where we're going to start today, I'm actually going to start you on the ground. So we're gonna lay all the way back onto our backs. Let me kind of move here. And we are going to start with both legs coming out in front of you. And we're actually going to go ahead and lift one leg up. To make this easier at any point, if it's really flaring up, you can always bend that knee to make it a little bit easier. But you're attempting to kind of interlace the fingers back behind this leg, and you're trying to pull this leg up basically straight up over the hip. I have a slight little bend in my knee, but you're trying to kind of sink in here, let those hips kind of shift down, sink down into your mat as well. Again, if the flexibility isn't quite there, or the pains and the tingling is a little aggressive, you can always bend that knee a little bit, makes it a little bit easier here. We're gonna get big belly breaths going, so we're going to breathe in through the mouth. And then we're going to let it out through the mouth as well. Big exhale there. And we're gonna let that same leg come back down, release that back down into the ground, kind of shift on the hips here a little bit. Let those kind of rock side to side, and we're gonna go the other way. So kind of interlace those fingers another time. Other side here. Big belly breaths another time around. So inhale through the mouth here. And exhale, big deep exhale as well. You might notice that one side is a little tighter than the other. Perfectly delightful there, A-okay. We're gonna stay here another couple breaths. This breathing is all what's comfortable for you. Wonderful. We're gonna let that leg fall down another time. Let's go back on that first leg, and we're gonna bend that knee. We're gonna hug that thigh and that knee kind of up into your belly, up into your chest. Let that kind of sink down again in that hip region. Good. Another one breath here, and then we'll release and go the other side. Wonderful. All right, go ahead and release that back down. We'll go the other way. And again, you'll kind of feel maybe one side is a little tighter than the other. big belly breaths another time around if you're not there already. And you feel that all through kind of the front of the leg, creeping into the hip as well, and then even on the outside of that hip. So I'm going to go ahead and release that leg down, and then we're actually going to pull both legs in. So put your feet on the ground and then lift at the knees. You're going to kind of give a big bear hug around the legs here. And you're going to pull those into your chest. If you feel pretty solid and you feel like you can kind of go on a little bit of like a spine massage here and kind of go side to side, I like that for you. Kind of give that low back massage a little bit. You can even go in like a circle a little bit with the legs. And then go back the other way, other direction. All right, beautiful. The first exercise, let's bring our legs back down. The first exercise with our block, what you're gonna do, I'll go ahead and sit up first. So your block, this would be your tallest setting. Then you go here, and then you go here. So if you feel like it's pretty aggressive, let's start on the lowest setting. So again, all the way on the ground to where you're like, I don't know, 3 inches tall. What you're going to do is you're going to kind of put that up underneath the low back here. And you're going to kind of walk your hands back, then onto the elbows. And you're going to, if you feel good and you feel like you can go further, we're going to come all the way back like so. We're going to kind of goalpost on the arms, so it gives that nice kind of stretch in the low back here. If you feel like you need a little bit more, then you can turn that block up on its side. And if you need even more, if you feel like you can go on the tallest, by all means. I am not that limber and flexible on the back to go that high, but this feels really solid, getting some good kind of relief off that low back and into that hip here. Again, big breaths here. You can go through the nose, you can go through the mouth, just whatever feels good on kind of releasing down and into this block that you've got here in the low back. And again, if this is too aggressive, you can certainly go more so like on the elbows here to where you're still feeling it out on that low back. Gives a little bit of pressure relief, but you aren't fully back on the ground. That's okay as well. We're going to be here for a little while. I want to make sure we feel solid and comfy and feel like things are starting to kind of release here in that low back. Let's do another 3 breaths. Wonderful. To get up out of this, you can always kind of roll over to one side. If you feel pretty good and you feel like you can go up on the elbows and then come up, also delightful. I like that for you. But we're going to remove that from the low back. I'm going to scoot back here a little bit, and I'm going to sit nice and tall here, and I'm actually going to come forward and grab anywhere. So you can grab on the toes if that flexibility allows. You can grab on the ankles, the calves, the knees, wherever you feel like you can feel that stretch on the back of the legs into the low back. I like that for you. You're going to kind of drop that head a little bit here as well. And then we're going to inhale up with the arms, kind of shift again in like the butt cheeks, and then exhale and fall forward another time. You might notice you're a little bit further on the stretch this time around. Cute, delightful, I love that. If not, that's also okay. We're working through some stuff, right? So a-okay if you feel like it. You're not necessarily further this time around in the stretch. We're gonna do that one more time. So we're gonna go ahead and inhale. And we're going to drop it back down. One more breath. Wonderful. Okay. Now, where we are going to go, I'm going to kind of come here with my feet on the ground. I'm going to go one more time around on lying down. Ooh, so you're here. We're going to put the right foot up on top of the left thigh. You're going to start to feel this stretch on the outside of this hip. If you feel like you need more of a stretch, which I would think a lot of people probably would, you're going to lift that left foot up off the ground. The closer now you bring this in, the more intense this stretch gets on the outside of the hip. You can interlace the fingers and go behind that left leg to pull that right foot basically into your chest here. And that should start to feel that stretch all on the outside, probably where you feel that trigger the most. That's where I feel it the most anyway. It's always on the outside of that hip. And give you another 2-3 breaths here before we switch to the other side. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll drop that left foot down, drop the right foot off the left thigh, and then we're gonna switch sides. So left foot is gonna go on top of the right thigh, and then we're going to bring that thigh in. If you feel like, again, you're not getting a stretch all the way planted with that foot, which again, I would think primarily you're going to lift that leg up, but again, if you're not there today, perfectly cool, that's a-okay. We can go 3 more rounds of breath here. And let that breath really sink into the hips that are in contact with the ground, kind of that low back as well. Wonderful. All right, let's go ahead and drop that right foot down. And now, the final stretch I'm going to take you into, kind of an accelerated version of what we just did. So we are going to come up onto, we're going to use our block here. We're going to come up on all 4s, so hands and knees. And we're actually going to go into a downward facing dog. So what's going to happen, you're going to lift the knees up and you're going to send the hips back. You might find that you want to kind of scoochie those feet back and away. That's beautiful, that's delightful. You're going to kind of pedal those feet out here a little bit. And what we're going to do, you can choose to take this on the one-legged if you feel like that feels good on the hips. If not, let's go ahead and just swing this leg up and through, kind of right there behind the hands. Perfectly fine, and this is where the block comes into play. So you're going to put that block kind of back on, like right underneath the butt cheek here. You're going to tuck that left foot back and in, and you're going to feel this stretch all right here on the outside of the foot, or outside of the hip. Where you're going to take this is you, if you feel good, we're gonna come down and kind of melt over that front leg. If you need a little bit more assistance here, again, you can basically keep raising this. So you can raise this up here if you need a little bit of help, perfectly fine as an option there. But you're going to feel this all happening in the outside of that front hip, outside of that front leg. If you've ever taken a yoga class, you probably have ended up here. And this is always my most hated spot because my hips are very tight and I got the sciatic situation, and this is always very challenging and it always feels like you're here for so long. So if you need to, at any point, you kind of come up, kind of regather yourself, kind of stretch out a little bit. And if you feel good, right, you can come back down on sinking down. If you feel like you can only, go to the elbows, go to the hands, that's a-okay as well, right? Just whatever feels good for you. Continue your breathing. So breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. And go 2 more times. Sweet. We're gonna go hands first, kind of lift you up here. We're gonna lift up onto that right knee, send you back into the downward facing dog, kind of pedal out those legs a little bit here. I'm gonna move my block out of my way. And we're going to do the same thing, just on the other side. So again, we'll come up here, kind of drop the front leg down. I'm gonna stick my block close to my butt cheek here, kind of the outside of the hip. Find my place, kind of sit down on it. And again, we will sink down on the elbows, sink down onto the forehead if you're there. Beautiful. Again, if you need to, you go elbows, you go hands, just whatever feels solid. This is that point in time as well. If you have like a really big pillow or a foam roller or something like that, if you don't have a yoga block, and you can stick that under the outside of that butt as well to give a little bit of relief. Or if you feel good and you want to go all the way to the floor, then by all means, you can certainly do that as well. I like that for you. The yoga teachers will correctly tell you that that leg goes straight across. I am not there, so mine ends up this way. Just FYI, as you even progress in this stretch, that leg will be almost straight across there on the front of the body. For any of the yoga people that are watching going, hey, your foot's not straight. It is not. I am not there on my pigeon, as they call this stretch, call this pose. Let's go with another 3 breaths here. Wonderful. All right, we're gonna come up on the hands, kind of tuck that right toe in, come back into that downward facing dog, and then we will come back on the hands and knees, kind of get that guy out of the way. And we'll come back into, I said the last one was the last stretch. This is the last stretch. I'm gonna take you on the butterfly here just to kind of sink out on the insides of the hips as well. We did a lot of outer hip work. So it's kind of hit the inside here of the leg. There we go. Something was stuck in my eye. If you want to go back and do that whole video another time around, by all means, be my guest. I get it. If you're like, I need more of that, absolutely do so. If you like the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe, all those things. I've linked this mat. I have not linked a block, but I certainly can, so that if you need a yoga block, it's helpful for things very randomly, but like that, even like that low back relief where you lay down kind of on top of it, very helpful. I like to do that every once in a while. It feels really nice. So I'll link some of those too, just so you have them. But I hope you feel solid. Hope you feel some relief on that. And I will see you the next time around for a workout.